Hi, and welcome to GrowthCast. I am Michael Panuthos, a senior marketing manager with Ecommerce, an award-winning e-commerce marketing and development agency. And I'm joined by Keri Giordano, the director of operations, Gabrielle Brooks, the project manager, Christopher Lara, the Boston branch manager, and Richard Horvath, the owner and president. Today we will be discussing one of our favorite e-commerce platforms, WooCommerce. Together, we'll go over why we like this platform and why we think you will like it too. Sorry, why we think you will like it too for your online storefront. To get started, can somebody give me a basic overview of WooCommerce?
Sure. WooCommerce is an e-commerce platform that works with WordPress. It makes it easy for you to add products and categories, set up your shipping provider, your payment gateway, your taxes. Basically, you can run an entire online store using WooCommerce.
I also would like to add, WooCommerce is great because you own the website. So while some of the website builders and e-commerce platforms you might familiar with, they extremely easy to set up. You probably have more limitations and you're going to pay a monthly fee forever. And if one day you just decide to kind of put your project on hold or not doing it as tense as you were planning initially, then you kind of lose your website. So WooCommerce is something that you host on your own and you have forever and you have unlimited freedom to make any kind of changes. Really the only limitation is with WooCommerce, your developer skill set. And of course, WooCommerce is an open source platform, so they have their own limitations too. But what we see, it is more like a developer's limitations than the platform's limitation.
Yeah, that's a great point, Richard. Also with WooCommerce, once you have the initial build, you don't have to pay transaction fees on any of your transactions like other hosted platforms charge. So the only additional fee that you pay is to your own payment gateway.
Yeah, I like it because with WooCommerce, you can sell anything. Physical products, digital products, subscriptions, appointments. I can't think of anything you can't sell on WooCommerce.
What's that?
Rental homes too.
That's right.
So why do you all like WooCommerce?
WooCommerce is much more customizable too. So you can take, if you have a good agency or designer, developer in your corner, then you can take any design and have a completely unique website based on that design.
I like WooCommerce because it provides a complete e-commerce solution. If you're using the right agency or you have the right development skills, it could be fast. It's modular, so it can adapt to many different needs and serve an e-commerce business from startup well into its growth phase.
WooCommerce is an extension of WordPress, and WooCommerce have extensions as well. So just because there is an e-commerce platform called WooCommerce, it doesn't mean you are limited to the built-in features that the WooCommerce team built with hardware during the years. There are dozens, hundreds of experienced developers working on special features that can complement your website and adding enhanced functionality to your website to make your developer's life easier. I also would like to point out you don't want to go crazy and start adding a lot of random plugins and extensions to your WooCommerce website. You want to make sure you pick the right extensions, but I think that will be like another topic just itself to talk about how to pick the right extension for any of your websites.
So why do you recommend this as an e-commerce website platform?
I think WooCommerce is a great e-commerce platform because of its order management. You can track all the details from receiving the order to dispatching it to the customer. WooCommerce allows you to add customer notes, edit stock manually, mark items you shipped, and manage the fulfillment process completely.
And I touch on what Richard said in the very beginning. I mean, I usually, if I have a client who's on the fence between Shopify and WooCommerce, I usually recommend WooCommerce because you can, the site is yours. You can host it anywhere you want. You're not stuck with, a particular hosting provider. If you want to expand, you can, upgrade to a different server. With Shopify, you have to use their platform. You have to pay, I believe there's transaction fees, and you pay a monthly fee for every single extension that you add. So there's not as much of an upfront cost with Shopify, but you have to pay forever for any plugin that you used. Whereas WooCommerce, there is, whatever the cost of your developer is and of purchasing the plugins, but then you can make that money back, in sales, and then you're done. It's kind of like, buying a car versus leasing a car, only this is with websites.
Yeah, that's a good point, Keri. So if I built a WooCommerce site and I decided to change the site or upgrade it or move my hosting plan, I could. Where with Shopify, if I wanted to move away from that platform, I would have to start completely over.
I like how with WooCommerce, there's also a focus on being conversion metric. So it's really easy to optimize for SEO. They make it extremely easy to recommend related products to visitors as well, which helps them encourage them to visit other parts of your website. Highlighting top recommended products is extremely easy with WooCommerce.
Is WooCommerce secure enough for a high traffic, high volume online store?
Yes. So it's not WooCommerce itself so much. It's how you maintain it. So if you're keeping WordPress and all of the plugins updated on a regular basis, and you have the most recent code on your server, then yes, it's secure. And there's also security plugins. There's other things that your hosting provider can provide as well to make it more secure. But if you were to just build a WooCommerce store and then not touch it for years, it could eventually get hacked because the code would be outdated, and because it's open source, people all over the world know what the code looks like and know its weaknesses.
Piggyback off of Keri's comment, WooCommerce powers 28% of all online stores. So you're in good company if you choose WooCommerce. It's trusted by a lot of big stores across the world. But yes, like anything, Chase has been hacked. The U.S. government has been hacked. So, is anything unhackable? No, of course not. But WooCommerce in itself is not inherently more prone to being hacked than other solutions. You just need to be responsible and maintain its security by keeping code up to date and updating it on occasion. I mean, we've all been hacked, right? I'm sure our social security numbers are out there for everyone to see.
Yes.
I feel a lot more secure now, Christopher. What about it makes it easy to customize for your needs?
I mean, it's built on PHP, so there are a lot more PHP developers than there are developers who can create custom Shopify or go in and work on Magento sites. Keri, you started to say something about that earlier. So if I have a WooCommerce site and then for some reason I need to move my site and hire another developer, then my chances of finding another developer who can work on my website are much higher than finding another developer who can fix my outdated Magento website.
Yeah, I agree with what Gabby was saying. There's also, I think, over 400 official plugin extensions in the WooCommerce store. So there are big companies whose sole purpose is to make plugins to support the WooCommerce platform, to add shipping, tracking, bulk discounts, you name it, it probably exists.
WordPress and WooCommerce also, since it is a very popular tool, that's when a lot of people know how to program it. And a lot of people actually use something like WordPress before. And when you upgrade their website from a regular WordPress website to WooCommerce, the store owner will have something that they feel familiar with. And if someone could use a WordPress website, then they will be able to use WooCommerce as their store as well. And that's very important.
Are there any limitations to the performance of WooCommerce?
I don't believe there are any inherent limitations. There are limitations on the number of products you can have. I think the limitations really come with your server, how much CPU you have, your memory and hard drive bandwidth. So if you have a store with 25,000 products and you have 25,000 visitors a day, you're hitting that database so often that you really need a server that supports that. So it isn't that WooCommerce inherently has limitations, it's that any website, depending on traffic and its needs, will rely on a good server.
I would also add, just like as I said before, make sure you choose the right plugins and not just the right functions, but also the right coded plugin. And what I mean about it, like you want to make sure you have a website that is properly optimized, and I'm not talking about search engines, the efficiency of the codes and the queries. You want to probably host images outside on Amazon. You probably want to have your database in a separate database, not on the same. And you can make things a lot more efficient. You want to have a CDN. There are a lot of things that you can do. You can turn off a lot of unnecessary queries on certain pages, page types, where you actually just don't need anything. Like, for example, not necessarily need to call a blog on a product page unless you have some type of related blog post related to a certain type of product group.
Yeah, I think that's where a lot of people's frustration with WooCommerce might come in, is where they aren't professionals in this and they blame something on WooCommerce where it might just be an errant plugin that is making excessive calls, or a coding mistake on their part that they don't really realize. But when you work with a professional agency, they have the experience to solve a problem based on your needs and requirements.
So WooCommerce is fully customizable. You own your own website versus Shopify or other self-hosted platforms. You don't pay WooCommerce for transaction fees. Anything else we should know about WooCommerce?
I would say WooCommerce is not the solution for everyone. If your development skills are limited and your budget is limited and you want to get a store up quickly and want to test an idea, then Shopify is a great solution for those just starting out, who might not have the skill set or resources to invest in a WooCommerce store.
Everything I was.
So the thing, we don't really want to bash Shopify, right? Because
Right.
first of all, we build Shopify websites too, and Shopify is a great tool for certain things, right? And there are features that's good for WooCommerce. And the customer needs to make the decision what they want to get out of their business. And I think Shopify is the stage 1, probably stage 2 is a WooCommerce, stage 3 Magento or BigCommerce. So WooCommerce also a platform that has a lot of pre-built themes So basically, it's almost like kind of like a Shopify setup. Like you can buy pre-built Shopify templates, and you can do the same thing certainly for WooCommerce too. Is it a good idea? A bad? I don't know. Everyone can make their own decision, but we can also say in most cases when someone coming to us with a pre-built Shopify, or sorry, when someone coming to us with a pre-built WooCommerce theme, there are some limitations, just like with Shopify. And most team builders try to fit their teams for every single scenario. That makes the theme more difficult to use because there are just too many moving parts and too many settings, unnecessary features that make the teams load slower and manage just more difficult for a person who is not a developer. And the key here, if you pick the right developer and you work with the right team, they will interview you. They will know and understand what you want to get out from your online store, and they will add the features that they need to add to make your store a success story. So you don't need to have all of the unnecessary features that make your website difficult to use and slow down. And that is something that definitely think before you select your development firm. If they really ask the right questions, they listen, and actually not just listen, but pay attention what you're saying. And they have the ability to come up with a creative plan for you.
Are there any fun stories about WooCommerce? Something you all learned recently or were surprised to see?
I have a fun fact for all the bloggers out there that, maybe you do a blog post about a DIY project or a craft or a home improvement project, and maybe you don't sell anything yourself, but you're promoting products basically when you're doing your project. And with WooCommerce, if you're an affiliate partner with Amazon or any of the other affiliate programs out there, you can create a product in WooCommerce and link it with your affiliate link, and then show all of the products that you're using as products on your WooCommerce site. And when they click on that product, then you can get a commission from it. So that's another way of using WooCommerce to make a little bit of affiliate income. Maybe you have some custom products you make yourself, but then you also want to promote and sell all of the supplies that you use. That would be another way that you can use WooCommerce.
You explained that perfectly, Keri. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Keri, Gabby, Christopher, and Richard for joining me and sharing some of the things a business should consider when choosing WooCommerce for their website platform. I think the three of you hit on some really helpful insights. To hear more about e-commerce tips, or for anyone looking to work with an award-winning e-commerce development and marketing company, visit TheeDigital's.com to view our blog posts and portfolio. Contact us to speak with one of our consultants about your project. Thank you.